Welcome everyone to Jaden's Jam. I'm your host Jaden Goss, and today we're talking about Andor, episode 9. Nobody's listening. By the way, I talk full spoilers on my reviews, so if you're new to my channel, I just want to give you a heads up. I do put spoiler in the title, and if you're looking at the video, I know there's no video for these reviews. It's just my logo or whatever. But I do put spoiler review. But I just want to make that clear. I always forget to say, hey, spoiler warning. So here we are, spoiler warning. Now I'm going to get into the episode. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it, and then you can come back and listen to my dumbass talk about it. So this show just continues to hit on all cylinders for me. If you look at it from a action perspective, I guess you could say, from the beginning of this episode to the end of the episode, nothing really happens. Like we're in the same place. But it's within the episode and it's dialogue and they are moving the plot. It's just not, there's not a lot of action in most of these episodes. But this is that like spy show. Right now we're in the midst of a prison break, it seems like. Which, by the way, some of my one of my favorite shows of all time is Prison Break. It was an old show on Fox. Went 4 seasons, I think. Great show. So I am super into Prison Breaks. So this is like right up my alley. Something I didn't mention last week was how prevalent and insidious the Empire is with their fascism, and the fact that you can be thrown into prison for basically nothing. You are forced to work, indentured servitude, similar to how we do our prisons in our country. Which that's another one of the things that seems to bother people is the show's too political for me. But if you've paid any attention to Star Wars since the beginning, it's always been political. George Lucas based, the Empire off of Nazi Germany, off of fascists. So that's been a part of it since, its inception as a franchise. And it seems like people only look at things at a surface level and not, look at the subtext or a little deeper. And this show is kind of making that subtext more apparent and more in your face, which I appreciate because I think these are subjects that should be talked about, especially in a fucking Star Wars show. It just makes it feel more special, more unique, and honestly more powerful. So I just wanted to put that out there. Like, that stuff, I mean, you should know this by now. The politics of Star Wars has been there since the beginning. It's all about fascism and how insidious and horrible it is. But, they'll throw you in prison for nothing. They'll basically work you to death. And then find out by the end of this episode, since the rebellion has really started to fuck with the Empire even more, and the Empire through the ISB is onto the rebels now, the jails are like, the prisons, I guess, are like, no, we're not letting anybody out now. Like, you die. That's how you get out. And I just love that fact. It shows how evil the Empire is. And like I said last week, I was really rooting for Deidre to get one over on Blevin because he was a fucking idiot. But honestly, for the rebels' sake, I think it would have been better to have Blevin, which we haven't seen since he was replaced by Deidre. So I wonder, like, what they did to him, like if they did anything to him. Maybe he'll show up again somewhere, but I don't know. But maybe for the rebels' sake, Blevin should have stayed. But I was rooting for her to get one over on him. And I knew that she was going to be like one of the best bad guys on this show, and she's turning out to be evil, an evil fascist. And that's what I like about this show is it'll make you root for the bad guys in certain situations. You can't help but be empathetic towards everyone. You hope that everyone. I don't know. I like the way they write the bad guys on this show. I like that idea. The writing on this show is just so strong, and I've said it every episode, but the writing and the dialogue. This episode's called "Nobody's Listening," and Cassian Andor spends the whole episode telling God, what's his name? Telling Andy Serkis, nobody's listening. Just tell me how many guards there are. Like he spends the whole time asking him, and it's like a watching Andor as a character is like a fine line with, you know, like it gives me anxiety because I'm like, don't put up too much of a fuss, Andor. Like if you can, you know, let's let's not go too overboard. And he's like screaming at this dude, nobody's listening, and well, turns out they are listening because they murdered a whole floor um, on two. Which, by the way, this show is also filled with tension, and I just love that. Like, this is the most tense I've felt in Star Wars in a long time. This show is excellently paced in my eyes. I don't mind this slow burn. I mean, next week is going to be the big action. We know that just from the fact that this is that 3 episode structure, like some of the episodes have been. We've seen that already, especially with the Aldani job, which feels so long ago. I don't know about you guys, but the Aldani job feels like it happened a long time ago. Um, so they're doing another one of those. So the Prison Break, it's happening next week. I don't know under what context, how it's going to happen. All I hope is for the best for all the prisoners. But I love how by the end of the episode, it sets up this through line of Andor asking Andy Serkis over and over, you know, how many guards are on each level. He needs more information. He's planning a prison escape, you can tell. He's going into the bathroom and trying to cut through the pipe. So, and he's even built relationships with some of the other prisoners to, they'll like talk to each other and they're obviously all trying to get out. And by the end of the episode, they know that there's no choice. And Andy Serkis has a character flip. He finally comes to the realization, which, by the way, man, that was heartbreaking. That they were like, "Yeah, he had a stroke. There's nothing we can do." The doctor was like, "There's nothing we can do." And so that's when you find out the Empire is not letting people out of this prison. When your sentence is up, they just kill you. They just get rid of you, or they find some reason to keep you so that you can work more for them. Uh, and that's how fascism operates, especially with prisons. And I just like that this is just an allegory for how our prison system works, you know. And for the longest time, they weren't letting people out. The Empire wasn't letting people out of prison, and they were blaming everything on the rebellion, like the rebels. Like you had time added to your sentence because of the rebels. So even when you get out, the prisoners who would get out would then blame the rebellion and go, "I'm not going to join the rebellion. They're the reason why I stayed in there for so long." It's manufacturing dissent um, amongst yourselves. The fascists want to make you hate each other so that you can never join together and unite. That's the whole point of the empire. They don't want people to unite against them because they know that they can't stop. They potentially have billions of people that could possibly unite against them. I don't know the count, obviously, I'm just guessing. And they don't want that to happen. So, they manufacture dissent amongst the commoners, the prisoners, the low class. And you even see the elite don't give a fuck on this show. They just want money and power. You see it with a lot of the senators, a lot of the politics, which brings me to my next point. Mon Mothma. She's so good on this show. She has risen uh, amongst the pantheon of Star Wars characters up the ladder to becoming one of my favorites, at least on this show to watch. Genevieve is doing such a fucking great job. She is like such a great actress. I love like there's so much tension even when she's like talking to her husband about issues. We got I didn't know. I had no idea. I was There was a reference last week from Senta. You know, she kind of like had a dig at Vel. You could tell, like talking about being a spoiled rich girl or whatever. Um, and we find out it's because she was a spoiled rich girl. She is Mon Mothma's. They say cousin to the driver, but I don't know if they're lying. So I guess they're sisters because um, Mon Mothma's daughter calls her aunt. So I was a little confused on is she her cousin or is she her sister? I don't know, but they could have just been lying to the. Vel would have lied to the driver because she wouldn't trust him because she didn't know him. I'm assuming. And it's all subtext. It's all in between the lines. If you pay attention enough to this show, that you'll figure out yourself. Um, but I love that turn. I kind of thought for some reason that Vel was related to Luthen, but it actually makes more sense for her to be related to Mon Mothma. And I'm very curious to see how Mon Mothma and Vel got tied up with Luthen. And they have so much chemistry, and this is the first scene we've seen Vel and Mon Mothma together, and it might be one of the only scenes that we see them together. Um, I loved that. That might have been my favorite moment of this episode, was just the reveal that Vel is related to Mon Mothma and they're working together. She's worried about her, and I mean, it's great writing, and it was a good reveal. Didn't see it coming, and I liked it. Um, then we get to Deidre. She has Bix interrogated. We actually don't hear whatever that screaming sounds like. We just see Bix's screaming, which, by the way, great acting and really put forward how terrible the interrogation is. And Deidre gets the information that she needs. She is on to Andor, and if only the Empire knows that they already have him in prison. They already have Andor, and they have no idea. And that's something that Andor brings up a lot, is the fact that nobody, like the Empire, doesn't pay attention. They don't know. They have their power and they just take it, and they don't really care about anybody, like any of the low class people that they're oppressing. They don't give a fuck. But now they're starting to care because of people like Deidre. And she's on to them, and she's going to be a great bad guy. She's doing a great job. We see a really serial, I'm going to call him Serial, Serial Karn. Uh, Sorry, just I know I'm annoying some people. Cyril, uh, he's a creep. He's a creep. He's stalking Deidre. Came off very weird, very creepy. Like he's been going there and just watching her. Like, has he even been doing his job? I don't know. I mean, it's been a month since last episode, since Deidre talked to him. So, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago. Um, but we find out he's been coming to the ISB, like outside the doors, just waiting for Deidre. It was just a very creepy scene. He gave very incel vibes to me, which made me really like, not that I was caring about him already. Like the domineering mother trope that's in this show. He's having to deal with his mom who's going through his stuff, and like while I can sympathize with that, I can understand why that's annoying, and some people just have no boundaries, and obviously his mom has no boundaries. But seeing the way that he like basically his stalking Deidre like made me hate him even more. I didn't know you could make me hate this kid all like even more, but I do. I do. He seems like a really fucking weirdo. And again, his facial acting, I don't know, it just looks like he's constantly grinding his teeth and like he could crack at any moment. And even though they have a bad interaction from anybody's perspective, like I think most people look at that interaction and go, "What the fuck?" Like see how bad it is for Cyril. He kind of smiles after she walks away, which made it even more creepy. And so yeah, this is a great show. I love all the side characters. We didn't get any Luth in this episode, which I'm a little sad about. I eat up any moment that Stellan Skarsgård is on screen, but hey, it's great either way. I am digging every aspect of this show. I love the um, the directing that we're seeing on this show is so excellent. This is highbrow Star Wars to me. Um, this is the Star Wars that I've been waiting to see. It makes me actually care even more about the rebellion, which, to be honest, I kind of want to move forward in Star Wars. Like, I'm tired of Disney only wanting to explore like three periods of Star Wars. Just constantly going back, whether it's the Clone Wars era, which we saw with Tales of the Jedi, um, or before the Clone Wars era and after in Tales of the Jedi and all the Star Wars shows. And we keep coming back to the rebellion stuff. They love revisiting the rise of the rebellion. Um, and then right now we have the Mandalorian era. It seems like they've slowed down in the sequel stuff, but so they have these same eras that they want to keep going back to. And I'd love it if Star Wars just moves forward and does brand new characters, brand new stories. But while we're here, it is nice to see, like on Andor, that we are getting a bunch of new characters to learn about and visit, and the characters are so good on this show that I can actually look past it. And it makes me care about the rebellion, which I haven't in a long time. Um, it really works in the original trilogy, but besides that, I haven't really cared much about the rebellion. But this show just makes it feel more important, which it should be, because it is the main factor of the original trilogy is the rebellion coming up and destroying the empire. So yeah, this is a great show. Well directed. Love the way the prison looks, the set design, how everything's white. And I love the different costumes that the prisoners are wearing. Like the regular prisoners have full white and a orange arm, like orange accent. And then we saw the doctor, he has white on, like the prisoners, but a blue. It's just a simple change. I just love the costuming on this show. The white imperial garb that the ISB wear, contracted with like the captains who have black imperial. I don't know. The costuming, I think, really needs to be considered for an Emmy on this show because the costuming, the set design, the makeup, it all just looks fantastic. It works seamlessly. Yeah, I got no real complaints about this show. Like, I'm just digging every moment, eating up every moment. And maybe it's just because I haven't seen Star Wars do this before. Take something like this so seriously. It's usually more of a romp, more of an adventure. This is more of a character study, and showing, Empire Rebellion, how bad the Empire is, why the rebellion rises up, and they're just doing a great job. And yeah, this is a fantastic show. Can't wait till next week. That's gonna be, episode 3 had such great action, and same with the Aldani episode when there was action. Like this show also excellently uses, like it knows when it needs to kick into gear and show some laser blasts and some prison escape, and I cannot wait to see how Andor gets out of this situation. It seems like even his supervisor is on board now by the end of the episode, and if you have enough people going against the Empire, they're already short staffed on this prison. Hey, I think it's going to go well, and I can't wait to see it next episode. and then we're going into the 2-part finale, which I think they're releasing a week apart. By the way, I don't think they're going to release the finale as 2 episodes. They're going to probably split them apart, like they've done every week, um, besides the first week. So yeah, this is a great show. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you like it. And I'll see you next week for another Andor review. Titans starts tomorrow, so I'll have a review up for Titans tomorrow. Yeah, just keep it here. The only reason I don't have as many videos coming out is because before I was reviewing 4 shows, 3 of those shows ended. So right now, I'm just reviewing Andor. That's why my YouTube channel's been a little less chaotic, less videos coming up, but it's only because I've had less stuff to review. And yeah. By the way, I mentioned Tales of the Jedi that I'd review it. I watched it. If you want my quick thoughts, love the Count Dooku stuff. Very important to episode 1 and 2, but didn't really care much about the Ahsoka stuff. Just my opinion. I loved the explanation of why we don't see Yaddle more in the prequel trilogy. It explains that. And I loved young Count Dooku. I'd love to see more of him. And yeah, that stuff was really good. And some of it was important, I felt. And then some of the other stuff just felt like a retread. And I was kind of like, I thought, haven't we been over this stuff already with Ahsoka? So yeah, that's my opinion. Not gonna do a full review. Just I didn't care enough about it, and I only liked some of the shorts. So that's my opinion. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next video.